Okay, this is 4b from the assignment on September 28th. So b of x equals e to the x over e to the x plus x, and we want to find b prime of x. Okay. Since this is written as a quotient of two functions, we're going to need to use the quotient rule of these two functions. So the quotient rule says that f over g of x prime, or f divided by g prime, is going to be g f prime minus f g prime over g squared. Okay, so our top function is f, so e to the x. So let's first just find f and f prime. So f is e to the x, and f prime is the derivative of e to the x, which is also e to the x. And then our bottom function, g, is e to the x plus x, which makes g prime. The derivative of the sum is the sum of the derivatives, so e to the x plus the derivative of x is 1. Okay, and then we want to plug those parts into the quotient rule. So we're going to plug in g and g prime and g squared here, and then f prime and f here. Okay, so our derivative then is going to be b prime of x is equal to big quotient of g times f prime, so that would be g is e to the x plus x times f prime, which is e to the x, minus f g prime, so f is e to the x, and g prime is e to the x plus 1. And then all of that divided by g squared, so e to the x plus x squared. And we can simplify this a little bit. So this is going to be e to the x plus x e to the x minus e to the x minus e to the x, just by multiplying out these parts. Okay, all of that over e to the x plus x squared. Okay, and then this on the top here, these two terms cancel, and we're just going to be left with x e to the x minus e to the x over e to the x plus x squared. And that is our derivative. So I definitely find it easier on these quotient rule problems to list out like these things that are needed for the quotient rule, like f prime, g, and g prime, because that way you have what you want to just plug into the quotient rule here. I think it makes the process a little bit easier.